How's it going, folks? Okay, so in my last video it was how to squat correctly. We pretty much brought it back to the basics, to our basic body weight squat. Today we're going to start loading the squat a little bit, okay? It's very important, folks, if you want to grow your muscles, if you want to get stronger, if you want to burn more calories, if you want to change your body shape, you need to be progressively overloading the muscle with some weight, okay? Body weight exercises like the squat will take you so far, then your muscles get used to that exercise, and the change, you just can't spark that change, okay? So you want to be progressively overloading the muscle, getting small microscopic tears in our muscles, which is how we grow that muscle, okay? So when it repairs a little bit bigger, okay? So the way to do that is to progressively overload the muscle with some weight, okay? So last video we talked about some basic body weight squats, okay, and how to squat correctly. Good four, breathe it in, hips back, all the way down, bum to knee level if we can, keeping the toes lifted inside our trainers and driving through the heels, squeezing at the top. We spoke a little bit about bracing, but now that we're adding a little bit of weight in, it's even more important so to do so when bracing. Okay, so we've got to make sure our back is kept safe and breathing in, tense in our core. So imagine you're about to take like a karate chop or a punch to the stomach, so you tense that core, and then begin your squat. At the top, you can breathe out, relax for a second before you're back into bracing again. Okay, so first we'll talk about the kettlebell and the goblet squat. So a few mistakes people make when it comes to a goblet squat is the position that they're holding the kettlebell. So they hold it down too low, their elbows are flaring out to the side, and next thing their squat starts looking like this. Okay? That's just a recipe for disaster right there. They're going to start pulling on their back, okay, and injure themselves. Okay, so what we want to do is keep the kettlebell nice and high on the chest, and elbows tucked in underneath. Okay? The reason being so is we want to stack that weight over our forearms. If we're holding this kettlebell like this, you're concentrating too much on trying to hold that kettlebell up the whole time, okay, and not thinking enough about bracing and our squat, okay? So, jamming the kettlebell tight in the chest and the elbows tucked in. Now it keeps the weight stacked over the bones of our forearms and pretty much jams in there and stays up there. As you can see, the kettlebell slightly curves. You're going to hold the low part of the kettlebell and the elbows tucked in. Now that kettlebell is just sort of sitting there, jammed in there, nice and tight, okay? That's where we want our kettlebell to be sitting, okay? So, bracing, breathe in. Tense your core, set the hips back and down, elbows tucked in, try to get the elbows to touch the insides of our knees. From there then driving through the heels and breathe out at the top. Okay, so breathe in, tense, breathe out at the top. Okay, breathe out, tense, drive through the heels, breathe out at the top. Okay, so that's our goblet squat. The thing about it with the kettlebell squat, they only go up in so many weights, okay? It might go like 12, and it might skip 2 kilos, 4 kilos, and so on. So if you want to slowly progress, sometimes a dumbbell is quite a good idea for this, because it goes up in 1 kilo, maybe like just 2.5 and something like that, as they go on, so it is a little bit easier to slowly progress. Another good thing about the dumbbell weight goblet squat is it's even easier to load, or to keep that weight loaded there and not hold on the kettlebell. So with the kettlebell, sometimes as the reps go on, you will start to flare the elbows out. With the dumbbell, as you can see, it pretty much just sits there, jammed, stacked over the bone of my forearm, which is where I want it. Okay, so that's taking all the weight on the palm of the hands there, and you're not spending too much time trying to actually hold the kettlebell in. Okay, so jamming it nice and tight. Elbows, it's another good idea, making sure our elbows are tucked in nice and tight, because you can actually feel the elbows touching the bottom of our dumbbell, whereas with the kettlebell and they're in, you're not too sure at the bottom of that squat, nice sort of flare out and you don't realise. With that dumbbell, it's a good way of keeping ourselves right, is hands underneath the top of the dumbbell and those forearms touching the bottom of our dumbbell, so we know that at the bottom we're still right where we want to be. Okay, so breathe in, core tense, drive through the heels, breathe out at the top. Okay? Another little thing with the kettlebell or dumbbell or front loaded squat, sometimes at the bottom of the squat, if you feel like you're going to slightly fall back, okay, for some people, it does help to hold the kettlebell a little bit away from the chest, not a massive amount, because the further we go away, it's more low, we start putting on our back, just to help counterbalance from that feeling of falling back. Okay? So if you feel at the bottom of your squat that you feel like you're going to fall back, slightly bringing that kettlebell out, but making sure we're keeping that brace or core nice and tight, those elbows tucked in, slightly out in the chest, will help counterbalance slightly. Okay? So you might feel a little bit more comfortable bringing it slightly away from the chest and not keeping it too tucked in. You might feel like you're going to fall back. So you might want to bring it out slightly as you squat. Okay, guys? So that's our goblet squat. Give that a little practice. Next video we'll talk some barbell back squats. And finally progress on the lows, where we can actually start loading up a good bit of weight. But for now, give those a practice and let me know how you go.